Hello, John. Welcome to Denmark.
Thank you.
And thank you for letting us interview you for this newsletter. Letter we have.
My pleasure.
So our first question is, what is your biggest inspiration from your everyday life?
Outside of the martial arts?
Outside of the martial arts.
I would say education, as I'm a teacher by profession. And I also find inspiration through creativity. And creativity and education may go well together in that you have to find ways to keep young people challenged and give them inspiration for discovering new things about life, new things academically, and new ways to explore the world, to open up the world, shall we say, to make them responsible individuals who can expand their boundaries as far as they can go.
Thank you. So our second question is, how do you balance work life and training?
Work life and training, the triangle of power is what I like to call it. Realistically, I think in all relationships, there's always a certain amount of contest between two entities. If we think about magnets, one side they stick together, but if you turn it around, they repulse. In every relationship, whether it's a work relationship, a school relationship, a relationship between activities, there's always a certain amount of continuity or mesh, and there's always a certain amount of conflict or tension. Work is one of those things that most of us have to do a certain number of hours every week, and there's not too much we can do about it. I always recommend that people do what there's something they enjoy. They should work at something they enjoy, if possible. And the family is generally something of a conflict because there's home time, there's weekends at home, there's eating together, there are holidays, and this type of thing that you want to spend together. But there's also going to the dojo and the training. And in fact, my situation, I'm at the dojo 4 days a week, Saturday half a day, Monday night, Wednesday evening, Thursday noontime, and sometimes Fridays, but not very often. And this is a large time commitment, but it's also important because it gives me a chance to keep on my training and also to work with people to hopefully inspire them and to get the most out of their training at the dojo. So how do I balance the three? It's an ongoing struggle on a daily basis, like it is, I think, for most people.
Do you have any advice for people on how to tackle the work life?
In terms of advice for people, I think do what you love is the single most important principle that if you follow, you can get the most out of your life. If you do what you love at work, if you do what you love with your family, and if you do what you love at the dojo, then that's ideal. Oftentimes, it's not possible to find employment doing what you want or what you love. But I think if you work at it, you can arrange, most of us can arrange a life that includes elements of things that we love. And if you continue working diligently, most of us, I think, that can create a situation where you can do more and more of the things you love. Whether that be working together, spending time with the family, cooking, gardening, time at the dojo. So it's not easy, and it does take time, but often working hard means that you can create a situation where you're doing what you love, and I think that's excellent. We were talking earlier about advice for new trainees.
Yes.
And I think this is a very good connection between those two. Hard work is what it takes to get better at anything. And if we go to school when we're, let's say, 5 or 6, and then we start to learn, let's say, the alphabet, and we learn colors, then we learn to read and write. Most of us have forgotten how difficult it is to learn to write. It takes a lot of practice. And you start with block letters, and later you learn to write more, what we say, with script. But it takes a lot of work. And interestingly, when we learn the ABCs, the alphabet, you're not finished. You have to improve your handwriting so that it becomes neater. And you have to learn how to write a complete sentence. And later you have to learn how to write a paragraph. And later in school we learn how to write a short story or a report, and a thesis comes after that, and so on. So in fact, writing is a very complicated process that takes many years to learn. And the martial arts is similar. It appears very simple when you begin. For example, in Jujitsu, you learn to fall. That's not really complicated. And then you learn how to evade an attack, and you learn some basic techniques, and step by step you build up the same way as learning the alphabet, how to write. But as we've seen, to write ABC is one thing. To write a sentence is more complex. To write in a manner that is clean and clear and easy to read is more complex. As you go through the process of learning, you achieve certain skills. The next step, you have to work for that, and work for that, and work for that. And as Sato Sensei always said, the martial arts are a lifelong endeavor. And in fact, I believe that to be true.
So, last question we have is, after Sato Sensei passed, you became the new head of Nihon Jujitsu. So, what aspect of you becoming the new head of Nihon Jujitsu has had the most influence on your training?
That's a wonderful question. In fact, I'm often aware of and recall Sato Sensei's instructions and directions to me. I often recall that he admonished me to learn the techniques correctly and to practice diligently so that I would remember as much as possible of what he taught. And beyond just the Nihon Jujitsu that he taught, it's also an aspect of learning the principles common in all Budo, or the Japanese martial arts. Aspects that we find in, for example, mutual welfare and benefit. Mutual welfare and benefit means that we work together. And this we can apply to our everyday life, both in the dojo, with the family, and at work. In a larger sense, we can apply this idea to our communities nearby, to the cities where we live in, possibly to the countries and international applications. If we're all working to support each other, we can reduce conflict. In this day and age, this is a critical, I should say, perhaps life-changing opportunity. We've had so much strife in the last few years. We've had terrorist attacks. We've had problems with race. We have economic issues. If we were working together to benefit each other, perhaps these aspects of strife and conflict could go away. To get back to the question, how has my life changed? I think that truly my focusing on the principles that Sato Sensei was always teaching, he was always focusing on, he was always emphasizing mutual benefit and welfare, maximum efficiency in everything you do. That means, in terms of training, you do exactly what you need, no more, no less. If I'm doing something in an efficient manner, I can get it done more quickly with less energy. That means that I have energy to continue another step in it, the same process or another. In terms of mutual benefit and welfare, as we've just seen, that means that everyone benefits from what we're doing. And in that sense, this is a lesson that we can apply in our life. If everyone benefits at home, then the family's happy. If everyone benefits at school, that community will benefit, will improve, will have happiness there. At work, it's the same situation. In the dojo, it's the same situation. And finally, my responsibility as Sato Sensei's successor is to do my best to ensure everyone who practices Nihon Jujitsu understands the principles and the means of training in a way that will continue Nihon Jujitsu well past my time.